My name is Miha and I'm system engineer for RSA. I'm covering Eastern Europe, and today I will try to give you overview about RSA endpoint solution. If you have any questions, just please raise a hand and give me a question. So let's just go quickly through market and to see where we are. So currently we have a endpoint market and it's really confusing. Yeah? So we have a lot of vendors and all of them are trying to achieve the same thing. Yeah? They're trying to block, they're trying to prevent, but at the end there are still two different solutions. Yeah? We have legacy AV market, and which is classical way to protect your endpoints, but at the same time we have some new next generation antivirus and as well as we call it endpoint detection and response. Yeah? So we have two main markets. One is, like I said, endpoint protection platform. This is where all these legacy endpoints live, and when the new features are coming to these legacy endpoints. At the same time, we have endpoint detection and response, where we are in this place. There are different things. EPP or EDR, there are two different things. They're actually not competitors. So they're complementary together, they're working together. And that's why we need to make difference between those two products. And when you have anything like when you try to compare those two markets, please don't go head to head and have EPP or EDR on the same POC or pilot. So just to go quickly through what are the difference. Like for example, for EPP, the primary use case is just to prevent blocking and to do some prevention. On the other hand, we have the EDR tools where the use case is detection. We try to find the root cause, we try to do the IR hunting, and of course there is more proactive threat hunting with this tool. With EPP there is less visibility comparing to EDR, because with EDR we can really do malware forensics. With EPP we are trying to, it's like reactive technology. You just install it and forget it. It's like AV, yeah? You install it, you need to have it on your laptop, but that's it, you don't care. At the same thing, all the EPP, they have, signatures. We rely on signatures, and that's difference comparing to EDR. In EDR market, they are more proactive, like I said, and you need to have more operational process. So you need to have a process how to detect, how to investigate, and at the same time, there is no signatures inside. We rely on behavior analytics and try to hunt threats. If you are seeing what Gartner is saying, it's actually, if you would like to choose a tool, please go with the EDR. So why RSA NetWitness endpoint, is different? First, because we are scalable. You can have primary, secondary servers. We can scale across your organization. At the same time, we can have deep endpoint visibility, so we can pull more information back to the server than any other tool can do that. So we will show you later what kind of information we can pull, but just in case that you're interested in more, please visit me later, and I will show you also a demo what we can do. Automated analysis with NetWitness endpoint, we can automatically score suspicious activity. So there are some rules inside and some algorithms how to do that. And we are trying to find suspicious activity and potential exploits. Advanced analytical. So here we are trying to use our data science knowledge and actually also to use user behavior-based identification. So we are trying to use algorithms and we are trying to use our knowledge how to detect threats and not just rely on signatures. We are trying to also, collect as much as possible information from the endpoint. So we are collecting everything from the endpoints, from memory, from what is on the disk, kernel drivers, etc., and storing this on the endpoint. At the same time, there is really good integration between endpoints and at the same time other NetWitness suite, which is packet and logs and NetFlow, where we can do integration together so we can have even better visibility. So let's have a quick overview. So the challenges today that we have is, that we have more and more surface to cover. So we have different laptops, we have mobile devices, we have clouds, and attacks are more sophisticated. At the same time, in the past there was, classical virus or some attack that we can protect with AV. Today, this is not true anymore. If you have attack, this is targeted attack to specific company. And we need to have a technology to actually see and have visibility on the endpoints, on the network, on the logs, so to have complete network visibility. And one of also main issue is that we now have a skilled people. So if you are trying to use really some forensic tools, you need to have a skilled people. So with RSA NetWitness, that's different. So we have really good user interface where we can quickly identify suspicious activity and then react based on that. So let's take a look what is the reality today. So we have, classical endpoints and, we have some confidentiality data that we are trying to protect against malwares or ransomwares. But what we are using is just parameter devices. So, or AV, next generation firewall, IDS, IPS, SIM solution, or next generation firewall at the end once again. So that's the reality today, and everything is going that direction, and that needs to change. Why? It needs to change because usually next-gen antivirus, they miss unknown and new threats. As well, next-generation firewalls, maybe you don't have a right rule, or on the IPS you don't have a right signature to block that kind of activity. You can collect logs on the SIM tool, but at the same time, will this be alerted and you will react? So it's all about how you implement these parameter devices. You can see that even with all these rules and signatures and everything inside, the hackers and the bad guys can still penetrate your environment and they can still steal your data. And at the end, we need to ask ourselves, how big is this compromise? How long has attackers been there? Is this bad? Or what attackers actually do? So what kind of data they exfiltrate? That's a most important question. So what we are trying to achieve here, is to have better visibility with our solution. Even if you take a look some statistic from Verizon breach report, you will see that 30% of all these incidents are opened through phishing email. Even 93% of those are opened in 1 minute. And 90% of all malwares or attacks that are outside today, they're unique to organization. And what is also important that even 99% of all the hashes, when you install something on your endpoint, is seen only like less than a minute. So we are struggling, and those time to compromise, time to discovery lines are will be more separated in the future if we will use still the same parameter devices and will not change our thinking. So what we are trying to do here is to get deep visibility and insight. So we are trying to see everything that is happening on the endpoint. We are trying to detect new, hidden, never seen before, or targeted threats on our endpoints. With some classical tools, what they are doing, they're actually focusing only at the end, and they are blocking unknown known threats. But here we are trying to see what is missed from other tools. And at the same time, we are trying to refocus our security team So they are more doing better investigation, they are more quicker investigation, they are trying to find real threats and not look to some false positive. So what we are doing, as you can see, we have deep endpoint visibility, which is what we are trying to do. At the same time, we have threat intelligence, and with all this knowledge that we have that is inside, you will see in a minute, we are trying to analyze the data that we are getting. And then we are prioritizing all these alerts. And we have some use cases, like you can see, there are just a couple of them. No bad malware, new unknown threats, or C2 lateral movement. So that's what we can alert. But the use case here is we are trying to minimize threat false positives. We are trying to minimize this dwell time that we are calling. So even if attack is happening, we are trying to be fast. We are trying to detect threats faster and react. We are trying to detect threats that are missed by other solutions. And when we know what other solution missed, we are trying to fixing that. So we are trying to implement better security controls on firewalls, on IPSS, on AVs, and so on. And one of the points is also really that you need to focus, you need to understand full scope of compromise. So if something bad happened, you want to know what happened, how it happened, how they exfiltrate your data. So you want to have better security controls. So this is what we are trying to achieve here. To collect everything, to have visibility, and understand at the same time what happened. So let's see what use case we have. So we are trying to detect behavior rather than signatures. So everything till now is based on signatures. Even some next generation AVs or whatever they are calling them, they're trying to just solve some basic stuff. And that's different what we are doing. We have intelligence rescoring system. So when we're getting data inside, we are analyzing that, and based on analysis, we are getting rescore. So we can prioritize what is important and what is important to look first rather to focus on everything. And to have a really rapid response. So with a full scope of visibility, we want to have rapid response, so to take actions, so to stop attacks, to analyze it, to see how to fix our security controls. So accelerating detection, analysis, and response. So we have detection, analysis, and response. So three things that we need to focus. And the first one is, of course, detection. So we need to detect in order to analyze the data and later to respond to that. And here, what we are doing, as you can see, we have endpoints on the left side of the screen. And we can cover corporate or off-corporate network. So you can actually scan devices that are inside your network and devices that are outside. So to do a detection, we have a lightweight kernel level agent which is installed on the machine. And then we are doing analysis. So for analysis, you can see there are a couple of steps that we are doing, like live memory analysis, process inventory, machine tracking data, everything that is machine configuration, operating system, and so on and so on. So we are collecting everything because we are on the kernel level. So we can see everything that is communicating and doing some stuff with our operating system. For the agents, we are covering Windows, macOS, and Linux in the latest release. So we are covering everything that it's for the corporate network. Going further, you can see we have a server. So here is what analysis is happening. Just to be clear, on the endpoint, we are just collecting the data. We are not doing any analysis comparing to our competition. So here we are collecting the data, send the data to the server, and everything is then done on the server itself. So the server is doing all these behavior analytics using threat intel. We are also using whitelisting, blacklisting, Yara rules, etc. And based on this information, we are getting risk score. And the risk score is first indication that something bad is happening on the endpoint, so we can prioritize, go focus on the endpoint, and later then we move to other endpoints that are less important. We can scale currently to 50K agents. In the next release, this will be like 100K agents, and we are also increasing this number. So I think we can cover majority of organizations here in Eastern Europe. And the last step here is response. So we are trying to quickly understand the root cause and then react on that. So we can do blocking as well. So if there is something bad, we can mark that this is bad, and then it will be blocked in the other endpoints. In some next releases that are coming in a couple of weeks, there will be also like blocking of our network isolation that we are calling. We are also can pivot from ECAT, Net Witness Endpoint. ECAT was the previous name. So we can pivot from Net Witness Endpoint to RSA Net Witness for logs and packets, and also to SecOps Manager, which is our console for security operation centers. We can send some indication to a variety of sandbox. So there is just configuration how you can do that. And we can also open some tickets if this is necessary. So if you can see, the RSA Net Witness endpoints is like a X-ray machine. So we are installing agent, and then we are utilizing a unique technology that we have, and we are trying to see everything that is on the endpoint. What we are trying to see, and when we are saying everything, is actually on your right side of the screen, where you can see that we are doing direct physical disk inspection. We're doing live memory analysis. We can do also network traffic analysis. So everything that is collected from full system inventory, any files that is copied to the endpoint, we can detect that, analyze it. We can identify some hidden processes or if something is modified. So it's like our solution is like reverse engineering tool in a nutshell, but with much, much quicker results, because you don't need to be expert to actually do reverse engineering. You can sit in front of your screen, you can see what is the risk score, you can quickly investigate what is bad and react based on that. And later, we can still collect forensic memory data and use it in some reverse tools if this is necessary. So you have capabilities to be fast, to react fast, to analyze fast, and later to also to use it. So here is what is actually technology behind and how we are doing. So there's the first step, it's endpoint module behavior analytics. So here we are doing behavior analytics. Later we are going to the disk inspection, full system memory, live memory analysis, and so on. What is important then when we are collecting everything that is in disk and then what is in memory, we are comparing that. And when we are comparing that, we are actually using different techniques. So like certificate validation, we can compare to gold image, which is our baseline. So it's really important for you to understand when you have an endpoint solution to have a baseline. So you need to have machine, which is your corporate image with all installed application, and then you're doing baselining. And you can rely on that score. So we are analyzing it, we have a score, and then we can see the difference if something is higher than the baseline score, for example. For a file and application whitelisting, here we are using reversing labs. So this is file reputation service. It's online, which you can get information in real time, comparing to some other solution which they are using some databases, and you need to update databases regularly to have this information. For blacklisting, we are using OPSWAT Metascan. So here you can compare your results to other AVs. So if antivirus is already detecting some bad stuff, we will not focus on that. This is already known, so we try to see unknown threats. We can use YARA rules. So I hope that everybody understands what YARA rules are, but it's open standard format. There are a lot of YARA rules available on the internet, and you can use it, deploy it on the endpoint solution, or even write your own ones if you would like. We have some threat intelligence feeds and IP domain information and geo information. And all of these threat feeds and geo IP information is coming from our RSA Live, so which is threat intel. And you can also use STIX feed, for example. I hope that you heard about STIX. All of this is going, and then our server is analyzing and providing the rescore. So based on the rescore that we are getting, we can have different actions. So we can automatically flag and visually alert. We can have some notification to security teams. We can, accelerate time to validate compromise. What actually means we can easily drill down, go more deep dive investigation and see if this is false positive or not. We can pivot from our endpoint solution to NetWitness logs and packets, which is our SIEM and network forensic tool. We can find all other infected endpoints with single click. So, for example, if you have a process which is infecting your machine, you can do right click and say, show me other machines, and that will give you in a screen which will be displayed, you will see all other machines that are infected with the same process or file, whatever you have. So you don't need to do research all over again and go through all these machines. You can easily navigate, drill down, get information, and then react. We can block and quarantine malicious files, which is available in the solution. We can obtain all critical forensic data. So here we can collect everything that is on a machine. So we can even do on-demand request and pull the data off machine. Like I said, we can leverage API for third-party sandboxing. So here we can integrate with Kuko Sandbox, you can integrate with our malware solution or any other sandbox that are available on the market. And last is actually integration with NetWitness SecOps Manager, which is a platform for a security operations center. Okay. So what kind of use cases we have? So we have 4 use cases that we can cover. And first of these is proactive assessment of key assets. So we want to deploy ECAT only on important assets in your organization. You can start small and then grow. You can protect endpoint monitoring and alerting. So you can protect everything, all the assets on your enterprise. That means endpoints, servers, desktop, whatever you want, yeah? The third use case is hunting tool for incident response. So we are doing hunting and you see some malicious activity on the endpoint, and then you're actually just installing the agent on that endpoint and do investigation. And to go a step further, we can even do deeper understanding and actually full scope of incident response. So here we are trying to actually integrate our endpoint solution with our net witness logs and packet solution. So let's see more in graphical representation what something means. So proactive assessment of key assets means, for example, you have a C-level like CISO, CEO, CEO, whatever, and you want to protect their laptops. So you can install agents only on those critical assets and analyze it. If you want to go a step further, you can use endpoint solution on all your endpoints that you have in network. So that's easily mean install the NetWitness endpoint solution to all your assets and then do investigations. The third use case is when we are hunting. So here you can see we are hunting, we are identifying that something bad is happening on a couple of endpoints, and what we are trying to achieve, we're just trying to install endpoints on those machines and then, do some forensic analysis, because we want to understand how the breach happened, what happened there, why they exfiltrate, how they move across your network, and so on. So what we can do is, just a couple of examples, like pull master file table and create a memory dumps. We can use this information later with other tools to do even more deeper reverse engineering. We can even locate and, of course, delete malicious files on the endpoint. We can create full root cause analysis. And if necessary, we can add those files or processes to be quarantined and later block on all other endpoints. So the last use case is to actually use our endpoint solution together with the rest of the NetWitness suite, which is packet, logs, NetFlow, and endpoint, of course. So here we are integrating together the whole NetWitness portfolio so you can get visibility into your network and endpoints. So what is NetWitness suite eliminates? For example, we have seen at the beginning of presentation, we have perimeter devices. And what we are trying to achieve here is, you can see on the endpoints, we are trying to detect threats. On the next generation firewall, what we are trying to achieve here, we can collect logs. We can also collect packet traffic. On the network side as well, packet capture. On the IDS, we can capture logs. And on the SIEM, we can also collect logs. So we are actually combining everything together. We are not just single box that we can have only one use case, but combining network visibility with logs, packets, adding endpoints to have also visibility on our endpoints, because this is important. Yeah. It's important to cover endpoints as well. With logs, we can just alert. With packets, we can get more visibility. We can see communications. But even if we see communication and we have alert, we don't know what is happening on the endpoint. And that's why we need a tool to get visibility. So just what industry is think about us, like a Gartner, Forrester, IDC. So all of them, they're saying that it's necessary to invest into your endpoint to be more proactive and to get better visibility. And of course, detection and response, which is critical for your organization. So what we can do is, in our opinion, only NetWitness endpoint can do really offer unparalleled endpoint visibility, which means we can continuously monitoring all your assets and get all this information that is needed. We can identify a new threats like unknown in real time. So we can also isolate, create behavioral analytics that actually there are technology behind which is completely different that other tools are doing right now. We can empower security teams so they are more proactive and to have better investigation capabilities, so they can easily analyze root cause, be faster, minimize attacker dwell time. So even if attacker is in your organization, we are trying to minimize the time. And of course, improve security analysis efficiency. So we can be more efficient in our investigation and not focus on false positives, but on real threat. And we are trying to achieve is to understand the full scope of attack and to respond in minutes, not in months or years. So we have seen over the past that actually customers are not aware that they are breached. They don't know what is happening on the network. Only when we are installing the endpoints, we can easily identify some threats here. So my last point is RSA NetWitness endpoint is a key component of the RSA NetWitness suite, which we are supporting business-driven security. And only with endpoints together with all other tools that we have in our portfolio, we can be efficient battling to our hunters and attackers. Any question?